Have you ever noticed that during conflict, everything suddenly starts feeling like it's the other person's fault? You replay their tone, their words, their behavior, their mistakes. And for a while, your nervous system becomes completely convinced that they are the problem. From my experience, this is one of the most uh, difficult parts of emotional activation because outside of conflict, you may be incredibly compassionate and self aware, but once the nervous system shifts into protection, connection can disappear surprisingly soft, really fast. And one of the most misunderstood nervous system experiences in relationships is what happens when emotional activation turns relationships into you versus me. Many thoughtful women feel quietly ashamed of this after they experience it because outside of activation, they're caring and reflective and spiritual and emotionally aware people. But during conflict, something changes. And it's because the nervous system moves into protection. And once protection activates, the brain often begins searching for certainty, safety, and emotional relief. One of the fastest ways the nervous system creates temporary emotional relief is by locating a clear source of danger, which means someone else becomes the problem. And this is why during emotional activation, many people suddenly become hyper focused on their partner's flaws or mistakes or their partner's tone or their behavior or everything their partner has done wrong historically. And while some concerns may absolutely be valid, the nervous system often becomes emotionally magnified during activation. And this is important because many people assume this reaction means they're manipulative or unloving or even emotionally immature. But often, what is actually happening is survival physiology. When emotional threat is detected, the nervous system wants clarity quickly, and assigning blame can temporarily create a feeling of certainty, self protection, or emotional control, especially for the nervous systems that grew up around criticism or chaos or emotional unpredictability, shame, or environments where conflict felt emotionally unsafe. The body learns protect yourself quickly, find the danger, defend yourself emotionally. So during activation, the nervous system often narrows its perception and compassion decreases, nuances decrease, self awareness decreases temporarily. And suddenly the relationship can start feeling emotionally polarized. I'm right, they're wrong. I'm hurt, they caused this, etc. And that realization was super important for me to have. And I know that as we're going about our spiritual awakening and personal growth and all of this, we're trying not to have our ego be involved in this. Um, we're trying not to pin one person against the next. But I know I used to feel deeply confused after conflict once my nervous system settled again because my empathy would return, my softness would return, and suddenly I could see the relationship much more clearly again. And that's when I realized the nervous system had temporarily moved into emotional protection. And this is what happens. This is why healing is deeper than communication techniques alone, because nervous system activation changes that perception itself. This does not mean harmful behavior should be ignored, and it does not mean everything is always just your nervous system. But it does mean emotionally activated states often reduce our ability to see complexity clearly. And this is why embodiment matters so deeply, because healing gradually helps the nervous system remain more connected during conflict itself, more able to tolerate discomfort without collapsing into blame or defensiveness or emotional polarization. And that's the deeper work. Not becoming perfect, not never getting triggered, but remaining increasingly connected to compassion and self awareness and emotional nuances, even while conflict is happening. And I'm sure you might recognize yourself in some of these patterns that I talk about. And I just want you to know you're not a failure, you're not broken. This is just this is a missing bridge that nobody talks about. And so I'm really happy to bring these topics to you because they're so important. And I just want you to know that many nervous systems instinctively move toward blame during emotional activation because blame temporarily creates this sense of safety and certainty. It's familiarity. But over time, nervous systems can learn something much deeper, and that is that emotional safety does not require turning connection into opposition. And that really has a lasting change on relationships. In the next video, we are going to explore a topic that begins the repair cycle in relationships. And that topic is how relationships heal after conflict. If you're interested in learning more about embodied repair and nervous system healing in relationships, you're invited to subscribe to my channel at Embodied Repair. And if you want to understand why awareness can disappear during emotional pressure, you can also download my free guide below, Why You Understand Yourself But Still Lose Yourself in Relationships. If this was helpful, let me know. I look forward to your comments. And until next time, see you later.